Keep our politicians fighting. How do we, the people, rise up and solve the great challenges of our time? We do it by embracing freedom and liberty. There may be no such thing as a free lunch, but this hour is as close as it gets. Welcome to A Free Solution.
Yes, it is Larry Sharp. I am here on A Free Solution, WYSL, Rochester, New York. So happy for you to give me a couple of moments of your afternoon. I appreciate it. You can reach out to me if you want to. I'll give you probably some, I don't know, something funny or interesting. One or the other, probably not both. 585-346-3000. You know, I was thinking the other day about our environment here in New York State. And as I was talking to people were talking about good and bad habits. What are people doing? Is it a family issue we're having trouble with? Government issue? What's the issue? What's driving us nuts? And I remember someone noticing as I went into my pocket to pull something. I think I was putting a comb out of my pocket or something. And I had a small nail clipper in my pocket. And one of my friends said, "That's a nail clipper. What are you doing? The nail clipper in your pocket?" I said, "I've had a nail clipper in my pocket for 30 years, more, 35 years. And he said, "Why?" I said, "Habit." He said, "What? Habit? Every day you got to clip your nails? Like, what's going on?" I said, "No. When I was in the Marine Corps, starting in boot camp, literally in boot camp, I actually had to keep nail clippers in my pocket because for those of you who have been in the Marine Corps, you can't have any strings hanging off your uniform. I don't know if they still call it now, but back then they used to call them Irish pennants. Yes, like little green flags. They used to call it Irish pennants or IPs. So they called it when I was in the Marine Corps back in the 80s. And we would take our nail clipper and we would clip off the little Irish pennant so nothing would be coming out of a uniform. And many people thought that was dumb. I mean, Marines even then, why are we doing this? It's just make work. It doesn't really mean anything. It's silly. But the point of doing that wasn't because they actually cared whether there was a little green thread hanging off your uniform or not. That wasn't the point. The point was building something in you, a habit in you to care about the details. Does it matter in boot camp if I have a string hanging off my uniform? It doesn't. But does it matter in combat if I miss one detail? Yes. Literally, people die, right? Literally, people die. So I thought about that. And I said, you know what? That keeps me in the right headspace. The right headspace. It's good for habit building, thinking the right way, attention to detail. So that now, 30 years later, there's no drill instructor to look over my shoulder. There's no platoon sergeant to tell me what to do. But I'm still worried about my uniform and attention to detail. It still matters to me. That's the environment. Now, it didn't just happen from boot camp. As I was a Marine for many years, everyone talked about that. We all cared about that. That was kind of part of our Marine Corps community. We discussed it. There was a saying in the Marine Corps, if there are two Marines, one of you's in charge. And the idea is not to make people feel like you got to tell people what to do. But the idea was to build responsibility within you. It was a very good world for me to be in, particularly as I joined when I was 17. So I was trying to learn some discipline. Boy, did that work. That was very good for me. So with that in mind, I thought about that. Told him that story. He liked it. Good story. But I kind of forgot about it after that. Then I heard something else. And it's going to seem odd, but I think you'll get it. I also heard that one of the reasons why the Russians were currently getting their butt kicked in Ukraine was because their officers were being killed and weren't in the front line. and their troops didn't know what to do. So they would drop their rifles and run. They would do terrible things. They would surrender. They wouldn't fight. They had no officers over their shoulder to tell them what to do. I thought to myself, wait a minute. I didn't have that problem. Marines don't have that problem. We don't need someone looking over our shoulder because we have a community. We have an environment of we don't do that. We don't require the officer over our head. You might go, Larry, you're just talking trash because you're a Marine. Well, yes. However, the data is also in. There are the least number of officers in the Marines compared to every other service by both percentage and numbers, both least. We don't require them as much because of our environment, because of our culture. It makes us act better even when nobody's there, even when no one's looking over our shoulder. Why do I bring those two very disparate things up when talking about New York? Because we are having so many problems here in New York, specifically with crime. So many problems in New York with all different issues, but heavily with crime. Something light. And this to me matters more. Shoplifting. You might say, Larry, shoplifting bothers you more than gang crimes? It does. And you might go, Larry, you're crazy. Why would you think that shoplifting is worse than gang violence? Not worse for the individuals involved, obviously, but actually worse for society. Why? How do you stop gang violence? You just end the black market. We saw it happen before when it came to prohibition, right? End the black market. Don't give them, a market to be in. You'll begin to shut down gang violence. It's a math equation. It's how it works. So your cops come in to help fix things, and then you end the black market. Boom, you all of a sudden can see immediately gang violence will go down if you do those two things. But how do you stop shoplifting? Gang violence is one bad guy who's able to get a bunch of young men on his or her side. Well, it's always a guy, sorry, on his side against another bad guy who gets a bunch of young people on his side and they fight each other over black market. That's gang violence, right? That's what it is. But shoplifting is just the average person. It's just a young kid or sometimes a young woman who goes in, thinks that it's okay to take somebody else's stuff and to walk out. I hope you see how horrible that actually is to our culture. Because no matter how much gang violence you have, still the average person goes, oh my God, that's gang violence, that's bad, right? We don't mind calling the cops for that. We want to stop that. We want to fight that. We don't want our kids to be part of that, right? Everything is like, oh my God, don't do that. But once shoplifting becomes okay for the mom, the brother, the sister, the dad, the person who doesn't want to pull out a gun and shoot somebody in the street, once that becomes the norm, then our culture is broken. Then the environment's broken. Then the community's broken. Far worse in the long run. And then how do you fix that? How do you fix a community that thinks it's completely okay to walk into a store, grab anything I want, and walk out? Or walk into an apartment complex, take all the FedEx packages, open them up, take what you want, and walk away. You might go, well, Larry, that's really only in the cities. No, that's suburbs too. There are people going through suburbs right now, going to someone's house who they're not there, taking their FedEx or UPS packages, opening them up, or just taking them. I think it's okay. And to be forward, these aren't, the people doing this aren't the horrible gangbanger guys who are out there shooting people. They're regular people. That to me is scarier. That's worse. Now, of course, the answer from the left right now is, well, It's not really a problem. Who cares? It's over exaggerated. It's that, right? Whatever. That's the left. And the right is arrest everybody. Arrest everybody. How are you going to arrest everybody if the community thinks it's okay? I'm not against cops doing their job. You know that. I've said it more than once. I want them to. But in a case like this, it proves something. I hope it does at least. That it can't only be cops. It must also be community. It has to be both. If you just have cops and nothing else, the community is not fixed and they won't stop. And this will be even worse because as the community begins to siphon off of all of the companies, stores, institutions in its neighborhood, they will leave. And as they leave, that community will have less resources. And as it has less resources, it will become more desperate. And you will see a horrible, horrible cycle. This has happened before. We have to fix this. Community matters more than anything else. Environment matters more than anything else. Who's talking about that? Only this guy. Am I right? Am I totally wrong? Is someone going to call and tell me I'm crazy? I'm okay with that. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharp, WYSL, Rochester, New York, on a free solution. Back with your calls and your chat after the break.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
Hey, this is Kevin Wilson, host of A Free Solution. You ever need a tool for just one project, but didn't want to spend the cash for something you'd use just once or twice? Well, there's a new tool library in Rochester where you can borrow just the thing you need instead of buying a new one. It's called the Tool Shed from the Southeast Area Coalition, and membership starts at just $25 a year. Use it for home projects or to support your business. Learn more and become a member at seektoolshed.org. That's SEAC toolshed.org.
Only available in the WYSL store at WYSL1040.com. Official top quality tees, hoodies, and coffee mugs depicting the colorful WYSL logo or the already famous Mount Worstmore line of merch depicting Mount Rushmore style are for worst presidents. Of course, you know who is front and center up on that mountain. WYSL official items make perfect gifts, or they're a great way for you to make a personal statement. Locally produced and sold only in the WYSL store at WYSL1040.com.
A free solution on the WYSL stations.
Yes, it is Larry Sharp here on a free solution, WYSL, Rochester, New York, 585-346-3000. You might say to yourself, Larry, I think I've seen you before on that cool show, The Sharp Way. You would be right. That is what I usually am doing on some weekdays, 7 p.m. on the East Coast. So yes, if you want to see me there, please check me out on Sharp Way or Larry Sharp, whatever thinks appropriate. Happy to have you on those shows also. Absolutely. So I was talking about the idea of community. And I want to go back to, if you remember, there was a skit on Chappelle's show. Dave Chappelle obviously had that great show several years back. Now still doing stand-up. Very controversial sometimes. Depends upon who you're talking to. But the point I want to bring up here, though, is he did a skit, and it was about black men, young men in the hood getting jobs. And it was a joke, but it kind of wasn't. And it kind of reinforces my point. In the skit, this guy's name, whatever his name is, I'm going to call him Joe. I don't remember the character's name in the skit. Goes and gets a job at a fast food place. And people are like, you're doing a good job. You're getting work. Look at you go. Good for you. And as he walks out, doing his job, whatever, done with his job, going home, there's like 3 other young men who look at him and go, look at that guy, Joe. Got a great job. Look at him. Let's go rob him. And they literally go rob him. They beat him up and take his money. He goes home to his girlfriend or his wife, I don't know, whoever it is. And the wife's mad. You need to make more money. You smell like French fries. And she's mad at him. This is all a joke. And I'm sure some of you are laughing when I say that, but it was a funny skit. But the point was his own community didn't support him working. Now, in that case, it was a black kid in the hood. But that's in lots of neighborhoods, right? Obviously, Chappelle, black, grew up like that. He knows that, so he does that joke. But that isn't just there. There are lots of places across this country where a community says, why are you doing that? What's wrong with you? We have to change that mindset, right? To change that mindset where the people around us go, you can't be shoplifting, man. It's no, not, hey, what'd you get? Right? We don't want to have that kind of environment. Hey, what'd you get? Did you get something for me? The more we have that mindset, the more it doesn't matter what the cops do. We can't arrest our way out of this. Can we arrest our way to stopping it or slowing it down? Maybe. But if we don't do the other end, it's not going to matter. Larry, how do you know that? It's called the war on drugs. We're still trying to arrest our way out of that. We never tried to fix the underlying problems. We never did. We still haven't. If we don't fix the underlying issues, which is the community, if we don't do that, arresting is irrelevant. It won't matter. We'll arrest people. We'll put them back out. Do it again. What, are you going to put everybody in jail? I mean, in theory, you could, I guess. There was an old, if you're going to be authoritarian, which New York State is right about there, so I guess is it beyond them in theory? There's a joke about Poles, the Polish people, meaning Polish people. When the Russians were cracking down on the Poles, the Polish leader of a rebellion said, you can't arrest us all. And the Russian commissar said, why not? That's it. He said there are 3 types of Poles: those who were in jail, those who are in jail, and those who will be in jail. So I guess if we want to become the Soviets, we could do it. But unless we become the Soviets, this is not the right answer. We have to fix community. And community does not mean, I'm going to be very clear, it does not mean throw money at it. Does not mean that. And that's Kathy Hochul's answer. Throw money at it. And the Republicans' answer is just more cops. You've heard what I've been talking about for literally the last 5 years. I am talking about how to get community to care about itself again. We saw during the COVID lockdowns how many communities have forgotten how to help themselves. Literally, they've lost the institutional knowledge to support each other. And when things went down, they went nuts because they had no idea what to do. They fell to a black market. They fell to violence. They fell to bad things. And they might go, well, because they're bad. No, it's because government has stepped in for 50 years, tried to be their mother and their father, failed, and now they've raised bad kids. That's the reality. This isn't the individual's fault. I mean, it always is, but you know what I mean. I mean, it isn't that all these people, whoever the bad people we're talking about, are bad people. No, there's a couple of very bad people who have controlled a bunch of others and failed government. Failed government. So, of course, if you're in the left, you go, well, you know what we need? Well, more government. What else could we need? If you're in the right, you don't say you want more government, but you do. You just want it to be enforcement. Not enforcement, not cash. Instead, changing culture in society, allowing our local people to keep their local money, allowing our local people to create local businesses.
Craig.
See, the big piece is when people are going in and robbing places, most of the time, not always, but most of the time, they don't own these places. It's the guy from across the town. It's the big it's the big franchise. It's different. It's different when the guy who owns the store is your neighbor. It's different when the guy who owns the hair braiding shop is your cousin. It's different when it's that. You see that. It is different. We need more of that. You will see people begin to have their own pride in their own neighborhoods, their own pride in their own communities, their own pride in their own property. They will want to own property. They will want to own businesses and homes. They won't be renters. They won't be people saying, oh, those are the people who come into our community. But no. We are in our community. I don't want to burn my own community down. And sadly, I don't hear anybody talking about this. Let me grab a call if I could. I'm going to grab Craig from Clinton. How are you?
Oh, I'm good, Larry. I hear all this pie in the sky stuff you're talking about, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I feel like Uncle Joe wants to stop the drug war. He just released all those people, right?
Well, look, I'm going to give Biden credit where credit's due. He at least started the ball rolling. To be forward, what he actually did was most of the people who he's pardoned aren't in jail. Most people don't know that. They're out of jail and searching for jobs, which is not a bad thing. Look, he started the ball rolling. Nice. But it was much more symbolic. And I'll take it, to be forward with you. I hope other governors will follow and say, look, the president did it. Let me try to fix something. Most of the damage from let me be very clear, the non-violent drug charges, most of them are state level. So Biden is virtue signaling for the election. And to be forward, if you're a Democrat, well done. It's a good virtue signal. You don't really solve much, but you get people to feel like you care. Nicely done. It's a good political move. But there are literally tens of thousands of Americans who are in jail for non-violent drug crimes who are not affected.
Yeah, so you just triggered me a little bit because it gets into what you're saying about the community too. So I'm going to rant for a minute. That thing about Uncle Joe and the drug crimes, never mind that he put them there in the first place. So it's the perfect,
Yes.
It is literally the microcosm for government. We cause this problem. We make this problem. It ruins all of your lives. And then we go and take away the problem that we made, and you're supposed to praise me for it. Thank God I fixed the problem that I created and made your life miserable for. Same thing with COVID lockdowns. Thank God we beat COVID. They made us miserable for 2 years, but boy, we got them. We got it. Good thing we got it.
No, I love it. It's like I come to your house and I break all your windows and I kick in your door. Then I come in and I tape up one window and I go, what? No, thank you. What? I taped up the window.
No, you don't even do that. You come in and you have your buddy tape up my window and then say you owe him $600.
Yes, also true. Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah. And then I ask you to thank me.
Yes,
yeah.
And then you thank me for it. Yes, 100%. And if you don't thank me and pay the $600, you're going to prison. So
correct. Yes. So I come and break all your windows, have my friend come in, fix one window, order you to pay him $600. If you don't, and also tell me thank you, I put you in jail and steal your house. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but it's not. That's exactly what happens.
Yes.
So that brings me to the point of the community, right? About your uncle, your cousin, your whatever that own the businesses, and people don't get riled up because, we're just stealing from the organization. I hear the music. All I'm saying is we got to hang together with families. They're trying to divide families. They're trying to divide communities and say that they know the answer. They don't. Your family, your community does.
100% yes. As they break us up and break up our families and communities, we lose and they win. Community matters more than people think about ever. Can't let them collapse, and sadly they are. Thank you for that, Craig. I appreciate it. Larry Sharp here, WYSL, Rochester, New York, a free solution. 585-346-3000. Back with your calls, and I will get to the chat. People are chatting after the break.
Pray for the USA.
So the other caller is Joe from Schenectady.
Rochester and FM 95.5 Spencerport.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. We'll be looking at some increasing clouds, not as chilly. We'll drop down around 50 degrees. On Wednesday, it'll turn mostly cloudy, but still mild and relatively dry. Not expecting much in the way of shower activity. Temperatures near 70. Maybe a couple of showers Wednesday night. Better chance for rain Thursday. Could be a couple of downpours as the cold front moves through, turning windy in the 50s and 60s. I'm Rich Cornelia, WYSL.
As the weather cools off, you've probably heard about local energy suppliers asking for a steep rate increase. After recent record gas prices, think what it might cost to heat your home or business this winter. Save your comfort and your wallet with Air & More infrared zone heaters, which may save up to 50% compared to just using your furnace. Air & More zone heaters let you turn down your central heat and stay cozy in the room you're using. Heat from Air & More infrared is healthier. No combustion that dries out your nose, sinuses, and skin. You get even quiet heat that fills rooms with warmth, not dust and blower noise. Air & More heaters are completely safe, no exposed hot surfaces, no heating elements to pose shock or fire hazards. And they're completely safe around pets and children and have easy roll casters to make relocation a snap. With new copper PTC technology, there are no bulbs to replace ever. Save big on heating bills. Buy direct and get lowest prices anywhere on the web. For a limited time, save even more with a promo code WYSL. Call 800-707-8725 or visit air.more.com. air.more.com.
Oil investments involve a high degree of risk and actual results may vary.
Oil keeps going up. Hedge against inflation and the downturn in the stock market. Get in on the next major oil boom now and help make an investment that can potentially pay you monthly income for up to 20 or more years. That's the sound of a producing oil well and the sound of a smart investment. If you are an SEC accredited investor, you can take advantage of Encore Energy's projects. The U.S. government needs your investment in oil, and you are allowed to write off on your taxes nearly 100% of your investment this year. Goldman Sachs is projecting oil to go up to $150 a barrel. Call 1-800-544-1221. Encore Energy is a very active oil and gas operator in its core area of operations. Call now and learn how to deduct 100% of your investment and create 20 or more years of potential monthly income. Call 1-800-544-1221. Encore Energy. That's 1-800-544-1221.
Hi, it's Bob Savage.
And Shay Savage.
Here on behalf of the Genesee Community College Foundation, making quality college possible for deserving scholars in the Glow region.
And we'd like to invite you to Encore, GCC's annual celebration on November 19th.
This year's theme is A Night in Casablanca. The GCC Forum on the Batavia campus will be transformed into Rick's Cafe American.
Celebrating the 80th anniversary of one of the great films of all time with Rick, Ilsa, Inspector Renault, Ugarte.
And of course, Sam wasn't available to play as time goes by, but Encore this year will feature great music from Hannah BK and her Blue Hearts.
Join us for fun, food, fellowship, and great music. Encore in the GCC Forum, Saturday, November 19th, starting at 5 p.m.
Tickets available while they last by calling 585-345-6809 or Google GCC Foundation Encore on the web.
You must remember this. Join us, the Savages, along with your friends at GCC Encores on Night in Casablanca, November 19th.
An experienced professional with more than 15 years in dentistry, Dr. David Olivo welcomes new patients to his family practice at 2005 Lyle Avenue. At the office of Dr. Olivo, you'll discover a warm and comforting environment staffed by professionals who are committed to providing the best available dental care while assuring your complete comfort. Call 328-3382 for an appointment. Dr. David Olivo, offering quality dentistry with a gentle touch.
Wise Home Energy is looking for great people to join our team. Wise Home Energy excels at improving the comfort and efficiency of existing homes. And we are looking for installation technicians, heating technicians, office staff, and energy auditors. Full and part-time positions are available. Benefits include paid vacation, 401k, and competitive pay. Become part of our team and make a difference in our clients' homes. Call or text Wise Home Energy at 585-270-5836 or online at wisehomeenergy.com.
WYSL. Forget the fluff and silly stuff. Get the facts right now. Only on News 1040 AM.
St. Padre Pio Chapel, located at 141 Frank Domino Way in Gates, is a great place to visit for thought and reflection. The chapel is open daily from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., and you can have a tour of the chapel on request. To arrange for a tour, please call Pia Pelozzi at 621-6703.
A free solution on the WYSL stations.
Yes, it is Larry Sharp here on WYSL, Rochester, New York, on a free solution. You might go, Larry, I like this show. Good, you can listen to it. Watch it every single day. Well, not true. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's almost every single day. Kind of. 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern. Absolutely. Just go onto YouTube or Facebook and follow A Free Solution. And you can follow us and you know when we're going on. We have people like the cool Kevin Wilson's on. Yeah, Tim O'Connor. We got all the cool people on. What are you doing? You kind of got to watch this show. You just kind of have to. So before the break, I was talking about it can't only be government. It's also got to be community. The left wants to throw money. The right wants to throw cops. But if we don't face community, it doesn't matter. And I think people are getting it. Also talking about Joe Biden. And while it's good virtue signaling what he's doing, it is. It's nice. I think most people get it's much more of a ploy for the election than it is him caring. But I guess we should be happy with what we get, maybe. I guess that's something. I'm not actually sure. Let me grab a call, if I could. I have Joe from Schenectady. Joe, how are you?
I'm doing good. I agree with you completely about Joe Biden. I think it's good what he did with letting the people, pardoning the people with marijuana and weed convictions. There's a few things going on in the capital region, which is a blue area, and there's a lot of tyranny and stuff. And one of the things is rent stabilization, and the second thing is a black chamber of commerce that they're going to be opening up in Albany that's going to cater to the blacks. And I wanted to know what you thought of that, what you thought of those two things, the rent stabilization.
I'll touch both of them. Rent control is a very good short-term solution that gets you votes. That's what it does. Long-term, it's devastating. How do I know that? New York City, right? It does not work. The reality of rent control is, again, short-term, great. You're going to help a couple of people out this year. They're going to like you. They're going to tell you they're friends. You're going to virtue signal. You're going to get votes. Good if you don't care about results and just care about votes. Not a bad job. But if you actually care about helping people, rent control is the wrong answer. Why? What winds up happening is the people who actually benefit from rent control, generally speaking, aren't people who are poorer. They're upper middle class. I see it in New York City all the time. And what also happens? People don't build. They go, why do I have to build more? I gave you rent control. It becomes an excuse to stop people from building. If you want to lower, and it's going to sound crazy when I say this, Joe, you're going to think I'm nuts. If you want to lower pricing, increase supply. I know, nuts, but it's the way it works. More supply, price goes down. That's kind of how it works. So what rent control does is, again, short term, wonderful. You get votes for it. People love it. Long term, less supply, other rents go up. Now you have people who are poorer fighting, scrapping for the few rent control places. And eventually those places either become only supported by people who can independently support themselves, meaning they have more money, or they become slums because the people who own it simply can't afford to repair it. And they go, I'm not going to repair it. I guess you'll sue me. I'm just not going to repair it. And they become slumlords. And we see that throughout New York City. So did I answer your question on the rent control part?
Yes, and I like the answer because I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking it was a dumb idea too. You're right, though. It's for the elections. That's probably why they're doing it, so they could get votes.
Yes. And now when it comes to a black chamber of commerce, if a chamber of commerce,
there was an article in the Times Union.
Oh yeah, if a chamber of commerce for any ethnic group naturally grows on its own, I don't mind. It happens. We actually have it in very small, unique areas here in New York City. there's actually, I think, if I remember right, it's actually an Armenian Chamber of Commerce, I think, which is a small, group of people in the world, right? There aren't that many Armenians, but there's a decent Armenian population here in New York City, and there's a Chamber of Commerce for Armenians here. And that just opened up naturally from the immigrants who came here. They just got together and it became that. I'm actually not against that. That's people deciding to get together and do what they think is appropriate. I don't mind, as long as, and from what I know, the group isn't exclusive. In other words, they're called that, so they focus on that, but non-Armenians do show up to do business with Armenians, right? So non-Armenians are part of that group, but it's based upon that because it happened naturally. Once you begin to say, I'm going to make a thing, and I'm going to focus it on that thing, I worry that it's also virtue signaling. And I also worry something else. If it's backed by government, which I'm assuming this one is, supported by local government, that means it'll get preferential treatment. If you just start a Chamber of Commerce and you do a lot of good work and good business and you market yourself well and you make good money because you're marketing yourself well, internally supporting each other, community supporting each other, no problem. But the government's going to say, wait a minute, now I should start giving government contracts out to the so-and-so Chamber of Commerce. Well, now what are we doing? Now we're literally getting preferential treatment for our taxpayer dollars into a private organization, Chamber of Commerce. So my gut tells me this is just another attempt to get government grift. Now, I don't know that for sure, but my gut tells me this is a government grifting plan. This is a way that governments can give out government jobs, say they care about the Black population, and then gain votes for the Black population. That's also why it's 1 month before the election. That'd be my guess.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
There we go. Easy day. I actually answer questions. I appreciate that. So yeah, to be forward, the First Amendment does allow us to associate with whom we want to associate with. I'm not against that. My worry is if you're doing it because you want the government to give you special favors, now I start having a problem with that, right? Now you're taking my taxpayer dollars, you're getting rid of my stuff so that you can give it to a special group, and not even because you care about the special group, right? In case people haven't noticed, the Black community has not all of a sudden been doing so great with Democrats in charge of New York State. They've been saying they've been helping the Black community for decades. I haven't seen that. So my gut is it's another virtue signal to make the Black community believe that Democrats care. That's what I would guess. So that's where my head is. I hope that answers your question, Joe. Let me grab a couple of comments if I could. Phil says, how's your voice? Okay, I drink a lot of water. That helps. For those who don't know, I did 8 hours straight yesterday of policy for New York State. It's on the YouTube page, Larry Sharp, if you care to watch or listen to or whatever. So yes, I talked for 8 hours straight yesterday, just on New York State policy. My voice is fine. I drink lots of water. I appreciate that. So yes. And Joe teasing me saying, still another 8 hours. I am not. 1 8-hour show per week is fine. Yes, absolutely. That's kind of funny. So Raza says, give it up, homie. Raza, do you want me to stop running for office? That would be silly, because then there'd be nobody who'd be talking about policy in the entire race. You don't want that, do you, my friend? Don't you want someone who's going to talk about fixing things and not just virtue signal left or right? Wouldn't this be better? I think it would be, but maybe you disagree. So Yanni says, can definitely attest to a higher standard of responsibility being ingrained in Marines. I didn't graduate boot camp, but whatever they did to me in basic for that 1 month that I lasted before getting has stuck, and I'm better for it today. I appreciate that, Yanni. I do. I think it does. It can help, right? To be forward, the military is not for everybody. I am not in favor of a draft. I think you should join if you think it's right for you. You should join what service you think is right for you. If it helps you, it was the right move. And for me, 100% was the right move. But for lots of people, it's not the right move. No judgment. You need to live your life the way you think is best for you. The Marine Corps was magical for me. So I'm very happy I did it. For me, it was the right answer. Scott says, a black market gets created when laws prevent people from buying a product. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Justin says, without the protection of property rights, no other rights are possible to mankind. You know, Justin, this doesn't sound good. However, big however, you're right. but it sounds almost selfish, or you're a capitalist, and all you want is money and things. But in reality, we have to have ownership of things, whatever those things are, from our children to our cars, to our money, to our home, to our food. I think you're right. The problem is this doesn't feel good when people say it. So I think maybe you and I have to work on marketing this, because it does feel like we're being selfish or only maybe materialistic, maybe is a better way. That's the feeling. But you are right. It's an accurate statement, and most people don't understand that. They think other rights matter more. And they do. All the rights matter. But this is a key aspect that most people don't see. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Yes. All righty. Let's see here. If I keep going down here. I think I grabbed most of these chat pieces for now. Yep. Brian says, I just found out that Tulsi Gabbard announced her departure from the Democratic Party. Generally sounded very libertarian. I would welcome her. I like Tulsi Gabbard. I like her. I always have. I thought she was more of a rebel, if that is better. I don't think all of her views are libertarian. I don't. But when it comes to being a rebel, yeah. When it comes to being a Democrat, not a bad Democrat, right? I wouldn't be mad if there were more Democrats who were like her when she was running for president, at least. I mean, she has changed a lot of things she's done recently. But yeah, as far as Democrats go, not a bad Democrat. Now, as a Republican, is she a Republican yet? She's just not a Democrat now. We'll see where she's going. If she wants to come to us, I'm open to having that conversation. Gabbard team, if you're listening, DM me. Very happy to have that phone call if you want to start having those conversations to shift it over towards us. I will take her popularity absolutely. 5 seconds. Guys, thank you so much for chatting with me right now. We still have, right now, I have a bunch more people in the chat. I'm just seeing you popping up. I appreciate it. I promise you, after this break, I will take more in the chat. If you want to call, 585-346-3000. Larry Sharp, WYSL, Rochester, New York, on a free solution. Back after the break.
Why do businesses choose to move their website?
Can we have a caller, John from Rochester?
Tech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182.
Okay, so I have two callers. First, John, and then Keith from Rochester. I'll ask Keith to be quick.
As a veteran of the United States military, I can finally get the opportunity to enjoy special events, things that we couldn't afford, thanks to VetTix. Every empty seat at a concert, a game, or a play is a missed opportunity to say thanks to a veteran and service member. We could give our veterans a special event where they too can create their own cherished memories. Visit vettix.org. Find out how you can make a difference in a veteran's life.
WYSL. Getting podcasts of your favorite WYSL shows is easier and better than ever. Use your favorite device, PC, mobile, or tablet to visit WYSL1040.com. Simply click on the podcast tab to select, listen, download, and share instantly. Works great with any wireless device. No additional apps are necessary. Podcasts of all our local shows are easier to access and play, so share them with your friends. And thanks for listening anywhere, anytime to the voice of liberty, the WYSL stations. A free solution on the WYSL stations.
Yes, it is. Larry Sharp here, WYSL, Rochester, New York, on a free solution. So happy that you give me a chunk of your afternoon. I appreciate it. I'm going to go right to phone calls if I could. I want to grab John from Rochester. John, how are you?
Hey, Larry, I'm doing good. I got to tell you, the thing this marijuana thing that Biden did, I think, was good. If the people were truly just innocent users. The problem is a lot of these people, they plea bargain from dealing to being just a user. But the thing that irritates me about marijuana right now in New York State is they're giving licenses and preferential treatment to people that violated the law. And that, to me, is counterproductive to law and order. What do you think?
Well, the issue I see is, what are we going to do? The reason why I'm totally okay with it, and I know that my opinion is not always that popular in this case. The two reasons why I'm okay with it. One is I think both are common sense, but one is more societal and one is more business. Societal. People coming out of prison, we have literally across this country about 25 million people who are felons, almost all men, and they're all struggling to get back into the workforce. If they don't get into the workforce, they're going to go back into crime. So if I can get some people to get back into the workforce who are felons, I'm in. So that's number one. But number two, these people know the industry. So when it comes to business, I have people who they literally have been in the industry. They went to jail for it. So I'm actually okay with this idea of preferential treatment because in my view, most of these, again, assuming it's cannabis and possession, to your earlier point, assuming it's that, I'm actually okay with them doing it. If they plea bargain down from, selling or dealing just down to possession, I'm actually also okay with that. Now, if they plea bargain down from violence, I'm not so happy about that. But if you're just selling it, that's not a crazy crime. You're not beating people up. You're not killing people. You're not robbing people. You're selling stuff in the black market that people want. It's still consensual. So I'm actually okay with it. Did I answer your question at least? I know you probably are unhappy with that.
Well, we'll agree to disagree on that point. The thing is, the marijuana trade, right now we've had a lot of murders in Rochester, and a lot of them have been attributed to the marijuana trade. And that's going to continue, whether legalization or no legalization. So marijuana
including a
has
police
been a
officer.
real detrimental influence on crime in this city, and it will continue.
Agreed. And that part is black market, which is why you will hear me constantly say the way they're doing cannabis legalization is retaining a black market. That's why I'm against the way they're doing it right now. Cannabis should be regulated like a plant. I want farmers to be able to grow their own craft grows. I want young dealers to be able to just get an LLC, get an S Corp, open up a storefront, and there's no need for violence anymore, right? It's like having an alcohol shop, having a liquor store. There's no need for violence at that point. Let people sell cannabis as we used to sell cannabis before the 1930s. Let people just sell it like they would in a store or anyplace else. We start doing that, then there is no black market. Without black market, the violence goes away. We only have violence for other drugs. But if we have cannabis products, we'll have less of the other drugs. I'm never going to end the black market. I wish I could. If I had magic powers, I would do it. But can I lessen it? Yes. Can I lessen the chance of them shooting cops or others? Yes.
Larry, I have a lot of respect for you. We'll agree to disagree on this point, but have a good one.
Thank you, my friend. I'm glad you called. And to be forward, I hope you guys see, I was aware that John wasn't going to be happy with my answer, but I showed him respect. I'm glad he showed me respect. And I want to make sure that even when you disagree with me, you at least understand where my head is, what I'm trying to feel, and what I'm trying to achieve in the long run. I hope you understand that I am a good faith actor, even if you disagree with me. What I've said before many times, I can have you think I'm wrong. I can have you think I'm crazy. I can't have you not trust me. Then the ball game's over, right? You have to at least believe that I think I'm right, even if I'm wrong. Let me grab, if I get another call, I will grab now Keith from Rochester. How are you, Keith?
John is correct. Very quickly, I'm always concerned about our young people having to be in the presence of so-called adults who can't get through life without being stoners. So my one fast question, if we have to have government, do libertarians feel that government should give strong signal, because you were talking about the Black Chamber of Commerce, that in these communities, drug use should really not be encouraged. I understand you want to do the right thing and be a good guy in letting people out, but what is the signal that we send to the community so that our young people can see thriving adults, getting through life without having to use cannabis or any other stimulus? What is, if there's going to be a role for government, what signal do we send to the people? Please do not use drugs. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, no, I get it. And Keith, again, thank you. I know you call off and sometimes you don't agree, but you keep calling in. Thank you. Please keep doing that. I think your point's a valid one. I think it's a very valid one. I'm not happy that in many poor communities, to include communities that I grew up in, drugs were often the norm. They were self-medication. They were excuses to fail. They were reasons why we're not doing bad. They were all the bad things. And in case anyone's interested, I'm about one of the squarest guys out there, right? The only drug I use is caffeine. That's it, right? So I guess Mormons got me beat. But besides the Mormons, I'm probably the squarest guy out there. My reality is, let me go government and then specifically politicians. What candidates and politicians should be doing is giving people hope, because people who have hope don't try to escape, and drugs are very often an escape. So that's number one. Number two, government. That's politicians. Government should not be supporting all other types of drugs either. We shouldn't be pushing opioids. We shouldn't be pushing alcohol. We shouldn't be pushing any types of drugs as a government. Number one, we shouldn't be. And I don't have a problem at all with government doing the PSAs, saying, look, this is not how it should work. Here is the right answer. I don't mind that at all. I don't mind government saying what the people who are in government believe to be true. The people who are elected by the people believe is true. I don't have a problem with that one single bit. I have a problem to when you start punishing people for it. Now, government can also reward people. Why can't government decide things like you can't go into the military unless you're clean? Things like that. You can't do this unless you're clean. The free market can do whatever it wants. If you want to hire a bunch of stoners, to your word, stoners, if you want to hire a bunch, on you. But maybe government doesn't. So you can do that also. There are ways you can deal with this to show what you think is correct without using the hammer of law. But not just that. When you do things like defraud people, steal and rob, you still want to punish people, right? That's still a crime, right? To John's point, I don't believe possession's a crime. But if you steal to get that, that's a crime. Put the person in jail, hammer them, have the cops come. You knock someone over the head to get it, put them in jail. Absolutely, lock them up. As people see that, the cops say, the people who we're locking up are the people who are on drugs doing bad things. The people we're not locking up and we're helping out are those small business owners and local community leaders who are opening up businesses, who are opening up nonprofits, who are doing the right thing. So I think you can do it. My issue is that's a whole lot harder. It's easier to just lock them up. I want to change culture, as I talked about earlier in this broadcast. I want to change community. If the local people are saying, to your point, Keith, if they're going, why are we on drugs? We shouldn't be. Stupid. Let's go off and do something. If your people around you are saying that, odds are you'll go do it. That's not 5 minutes. That's 5 years. And most people don't want to put the time into this. The breaking of our communities took decades to do. And Keith, you watched it, and so did I. We watched it fall apart for decades. It will take years to repair. What I'm telling you is, I predict that happen. I will walk down that road. I will take the time to repair the communities, even if it takes years. I'm okay. Question is, who else is? Not many. Guys, thank you so much for giving me a chunk of your afternoon. I will see you all very soon.